Hi everybody. I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about how to do really well in this online philosophy class. I'm assuming that you are senior students who are looking to go on to some sort of post-secondary experience and that you're in the last little stretch of high school. So getting a good mark in this class is something that you'd really like to do. So there's a couple of considerations in that. My way of thinking of it is that I've broken the idea down into two parts, which are the course, that is the mechanism of the course, how the software works, the Desire to Learn platform, and then the content of the course. So I'll talk about both those things. Firstly, the course. My very first rule is save everything. In the course, when you have an assignment, you submit that assignment to a Dropbox. And when you submit it and it goes in, you get a little receipt emailed back to you, which is awesome. If that breaks down somehow, then you should contact me and say, Mr. Pier, did you get my such and such an assignment? Just to be sure. But I think you'll catch on to it pretty soon. I think it's pretty straightforward. But that said, until I've marked it and you've got that mark back, keep it safe somewhere else as well, because it's computers and computers are evil and they lose things and things get all put out of formatting and that sort of thing. So make sure that you save everything. In a similar vein to that, you should have a plan B in case your laptop or your home computer, if that's primarily what you're going to be doing the course on, fails. It could fail because the internet's down for a protracted period of time because a tree fell on the pole outside your house, or it could be that the hard drive in the laptop blows up. Whatever it is, you need to have a plan B in that, because there's a timeline associated with the course, and I'll be understanding, but the timeline moves on. You'd be surprised how many people ran into some computer problems near the very end of the course last time around. I guess related to that idea as well is the idea that you really need at the very outset to make sure that you understand how the software works. So make sure that you learn the Desire to Learn software. There's a little bit of an introduction at the very beginning of the course. Go through that introduction and make sure that you're clear on it. If you have a problem with it, you can ask me, you can ask your guidance counselor, or you can ask somebody in your school that you know has already taken an online course. Any of those ways is good. This one, number 4, is a really important one for online courses. Online courses are not like courses where you go and sit in a desk every day and the teacher talks, the sort of stand-up classroom delivery courses that you're used to. Online courses require a lot of self-discipline, and that means that you have to make yourself sit down and do the course. It's structured so that you should be doing that for about an hour a day. You have to do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't let it snowball on you. Don't let it get ahead of you. Because if you do, then all of a sudden, you're going to have, instead of a little bit of manageable work to do, you're going to have a great deal of work to do. And then a huge amount of work to do. And then what happens, as we know, is that you don't put the time into it because you can't, because you don't have time anymore, and then your marks start to suffer, and then you say, what the heck am I doing anyway? So don't procrastinate. Get ahead and stay ahead is my advice to you. A good example of this is the culminating assignment. You'll be glad to know, I hope, that there is no exam for this course. There is, however, a major 30% culminating assignment. But that's kind of good, except that it's going to come around the same time as you will be writing exams for all your other classes that you're taking. So that means that you have to make sure that you are well ahead of where you need to be, or you won't be able to devote the time that you need to that 30% culminating. Believe me, it happens, and it happens quite regularly. It's very unfortunate. Don't let it be you. Next thing I want to say is make sure that you always, always, always use your own words. One of the great things for me as a teacher in the Desire to Learn software is that it has a plagiarism checker associated with it. It's really quite sophisticated. And it tells me on a kind of a bar graph how much of any given assignment is original to you, to your own words. I would like that to be 100% original to you. So if it isn't, I'm just going to hand the assignment back to you and I won't take it until it's completely in your own words, which I think is only fair. That said, I mean, it's a different thing, obviously, if you're citing people, but let's not get bogged down into that. Primarily, you're using your own words. The last thing in terms of the mechanics of the course I want to say is, and this is always true, when in doubt, ask. I try very hard to respond to people the same day. Sometimes it might be a day later, especially if there's a weekend involved, but it's definitely not a case of me going for a protracted period of time where I'm not responding to you. So please ask. But having said that, I have a news feed, and whenever you log onto the course, it's the first thing you see. Make sure that you read the news feed, because I try to anticipate some of your questions and give helpful hints and that sort of thing as well. If you're not checking out on the news feed, then you're missing out on that stuff. So read the news feed, and if it's not there, then make sure to ask the question. Okay, so that's the mechanics of the course. The next thing is the content of the course. Philosophy. It's a wonderful thing. There's lots of great ideas in philosophy. The thing about philosophy, though, it's kind of like the law a little bit. It's text heavy. And there's a reason for that. I mean, philosophy has been referred to as a walk on the slippery rocks, which means that the people that are involved in philosophy have to be very precise about their language. They're trying to make an argument to prove, using things like logic, that what they're saying is correct. So, with that in mind, make sure you do the reading. It would be very difficult for you to do well in the course without having read and absorbed the content. A lot of the assignments in the class require you to write what are called position papers. Position papers are short essays that require you to state your opinion. The good news is that your opinion is perfectly valid in all cases, no matter what you say. The thing you have to remember about it, though, is that it's a philosophy course, which means that your opinion is one thing, but you have to support that using philosophy or the content of the course so that you can actually make your argument stick. So I'll give you an example. One of the last units in the course, it's actually one of my favorite ones, is the aesthetics unit. Aesthetics is about the philosophy of beauty. So what makes something beautiful? So you may say, I think a flower is beautiful. Period. Well, that's awesome. You're perfectly entitled to think that a flower is beautiful. However, that's not a really good answer in terms of a philosophy course. A better answer would be to say something like, I think a flower is beautiful because, as Kant said, that beauty comes from things that are different somehow from what we are used to seeing, and flowers, because of their color and shape, fit that definition and stand out among the other plants in nature in the way that they're designed to do. That would be a much better explanation than just stating simply your opinion. Remember that. A lot of the course is about your opinion, but you have to back up your opinion with content. Before you hand something in, you should look at the rubrics. The rubrics, especially for the major writing assignments, are pretty good in telling you what I'm going to be looking for. And again, if you have questions about what the rubrics mean, you should ask. But the rubrics are a great guide to see what kind of final product I'm actually going to be evaluating you on. If you run across, as you are liable to do, something that doesn't quite make sense to you at first, then I counsel you to be hungry for knowledge. The internet is a wonderful thing, and there are a lot of philosophy resources. I'll be posting a lot of them throughout the course, but I'm sure with your experience with the internet that you'll be able to find your own. Go out there and look. It's an excellent way to learn things, to find your own resources and make sense of things in your own way. Finally, your writing. Again, philosophy, a lot of it's about writing. I'll be referring to that. During the course, I should say, incidentally, I try hard also to give you assignments that are, creative, that require you to do things other than just methodically write essays, but there is a fair amount of writing. In your writing, I would ask that you be creative, clear, in that it's easy to understand what it is that you're saying, cogent, in that what you're saying makes logical sense from point A to point B, and finally, back it up with content. So once again, creative, clear, cogent, and back it up with content. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the course. Bye for now.